Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming, bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out Super Destronaut DX-2. This game is developed by Petite Games, published by Ratalaika Games, and released on July 2nd, 2021, for a price of $4.99, although you can save a little bit of money as the game is on sale for $3.99. So what is Super Destronaut DX2? It's a shoot 'em up. It's actually a quite simple shoot 'em up that has a couple different kind of game modes, kind of thrown into it, but for the most part, a lot of the game modes are fairly simple. The game starts off with 6 challenge worlds, but to really beat the entire game, you only need to do the first 2 challenge worlds, as well as a bunch of different arcade modes. Now, personally, the arcade modes are what are the most fun and entertaining for me to play, because it allows me to play exactly what I want, how I want, and when I want. It's a pretty straightforward side-scrolling left to right drop-down shoot 'em up. You're sometimes going to encounter enemies in the game that will come from below your screen, but for the most part, everything that's attacking you will come from the top. You're going to get a little bit of a variety of the enemies that you do encounter in the game, but for the most part, a lot of them are going to do fairly similar things. They're going to slide onto the screen and they're going to shoot back at you. Now, where this game does things a little differently is you only really have one enemy at any given time trying to attack you. When you do kill that enemy, a new group of enemies is going to come out and come after you. Now, one thing that is cool is you will occasionally see, hopefully here in the next minute or two, an enemy ship come out. As you can see at the top of the screen right there's a little bonus upgrade ship that'll drop that little P. Now that P is going to give you a power-up, which ultimately makes your ship function a lot better. Now, as far as getting, into the nitty-gritty and diving into this game, I wish that it would have explained itself a little more instead of having to rely on just your ability to understand how shmups work when you're playing the game. I wish there would have been a little more of a tutorial-like sense, as I didn't even realize for the longest time, and maybe this is because I just have played a lot of shmups and I'm just so used to my ship being stuck at the bottom of my screen that I can fly up and down and left and right and go wherever I want, instead of just having to live in one location, going side-scrolling back and forth. Now, I only really ever noticed this come in handy when you're fighting the little guys who shoot missiles at you, but it is kind of a nice thing to know, and I would love to have known about it when the game first kind of was picked up and played. For the most part, though, you just have to kind of figure out what to do. It's a straightforward shmup where you more or less just hold the A button to fire the entire time you're playing, and you're dodging enemy fire while you're killing everybody. Achievement-wise, the game is pretty straightforward. You'll need to play all the different, challenge modes as well as beat the first 2 worlds. So let's go ahead and show you kind of what the world gameplay looks like. So once you go into the challenges and load into the worlds, you basically play a mismatch of the 5 different modes that you'll see, or 5 different modes, that you'll see in the arcade mode. Classic, time attack, a bullet mode where you kind of only have an X amount of bullets, hardcore mode where you die pretty quickly, but that's pretty much straightforward. That's your game. As you climb up into the worlds in the challenge mode, the difficulty just kind of ramps up for you while you're trying to play and get through everything. Achievement-wise, the game really just wants you to spend some time, get a little score in all the achievements for the different game modes, but for the most part, though, it's not going to be anything that is too difficult for you to do or be anything that is too challenging. I think the most threatening enemies that you're going to encounter when you're playing any stage is the little blue guys that you saw me just kill, as they shoot heat-seeking missiles, whereas everybody else kind of just has a predetermined fire pattern. You'll get these little yellow guys here that shoot these big lasers, but everything else is pretty easy to dodge and get around. You just have to really worry about these, rockets that come after you, and then just cycle through the various enemies when you're playing. I do definitely recommend that when you are playing, keep an eye out for those bonus ships, as having that extra little firepower is definitely going to help you, especially as more and more enemies get on the screen. And then when you see these paired up kind of green guys interact on the levels, it'll definitely help make that a little easier for you. Overall, though, I think the game's a decent shmup. There are a lot better shmups out there, I think, and with that in fact in mind, as far as giving this game any type of a rating, it's very vibrant. I love the music. I love, kind of the animations and everything that the game brings, especially with its art style. It definitely feels like a shmup, but it just seems like it didn't bring a lot to the table in the form of variety and things I really interact with. It's pretty straightforward. The enemies are more or less just different colored shapes. whereas nothing really seems too challenging, and it doesn't really feel like there's that boss shmup expectation that you hope to have in games like this. If I have to give this game any type of a rating, I'm looking to give it a 5 out of 10. It's a solid shmup. I just really would love to see more. Outside of that, though, if you guys do want to check the game out for yourself, it is an easy completion. We've got a link down in the description. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any more questions about the game, let us know down in the comments, and you have a great day. We'll see you next time.